Okay, this video is just a follow-on from the video that I sent around a few weeks ago, guiding you through Blackboard Collaborate. Based on the PD today, some people have emailed me some questions, so hopefully this will address them. I'm going to go right from the basics. I'm going to go a little bit quickly, but if you know this, then you know this. If you don't know this, hopefully it will help you. This is the Blackboard Collaborate welcome screen. On the left of the screen, you have your session menu. This is where you can select Start Recording. You can report technical issues. You can go to Blackboard Help, which is a very, very useful tool to find out how to use the system. And you can leave the session or leave the classroom. Those are the main features of the session menu. It's not something you will be using too often, other than maybe to record. At the bottom of the screen, you have your status and settings. Here you have your name, obviously, your bandwidth or your connection strength. 4 bars means an excellent connection. If you've got 1 or 2 bars, you're using too much bandwidth. Maybe turn off your video, close any tabs you have in the background. So this tells you how good your connection is. You can set your status from away. People will know that you're away. You can come back. And you can leave the session here as well. And you have some feedback options for connection speed, and maybe you feel confused. And then a little icon tells me I'm confused. The microphone, you know how to turn the mic on and turn the mic off, so you've been experiencing that this week. Best practice is to have the microphone turned off when you're not speaking, so we can't hear you in the background, drinking your coffee, eating your chips. Video on and off for bandwidth reasons. If you're not presenting, probably best to keep your video off. As a guy teaching girls, the videos will be off constantly, so not something I'll need. The hand raise icon is an important one for classroom management. Rather than everyone talking at once, to control the class, if you're asking a question, a little bit like KG, raise your hand, turn your mic on, answer the question, turn your mic off, lower your hand. Otherwise you're going to end up with people talking over each other with the time delay and the lag and the bandwidth. It's not a great way to communicate. So training your students to use that is going to be quite important. The most important menu for us is the Collaborate panel on the right. You should be fairly familiar with this. The chat box we've all been using in PD this week effectively, sometimes overusing. You have options to chat to everyone. If you've got 2 or 3 moderators in the class, you can have a private chat there. You can also chat individually with people if that feature is enabled, and I'll show you how to do that later. So the chat feature, I think you guys know. The attendees list is an important one. It's got 2 or 3 actually really key features here. It's not just a list of who's in the room. At the top we have more options. We have 3 dots. We have an option to mute everyone. If the class is particularly noisy, halas, you can shut them down, you can mute everyone. Just be warned, they will have the power to turn their microphone back on. It's just for an instant silence. So you can mute everyone and they will be quiet, inshallah. You also have your list here. The moderator is me. I don't have any participants right now. If I had participants, I could see everybody's connection strength, and I would also have some options here. When I click this, I only have 1 option, but when you click on your participants, your students, you have the option to mute that individual. You have the option to remove that person from the class, and you also have the option to make that person a moderator or a presenter. This means if you want that person to share material with the class, to share their work, you want the students to take control of the class, this is where you would set that up. And then once the students have done their presenting, you can remove that power and you can take control back. So this is how you change people's role within the class instantly. Next up, share content. The whiteboard we've been using a little bit in PD. You have a pointer, which is very laggy and not a very effective tool. You have the pencil, great for underlining and circling, not great for writing, especially if you're using a trackpad. Some default shapes and lines, an option to type, and an option to delete everything and clear. Once you finish with your whiteboard, click stop sharing, and you come back to the welcome screen or to the presenter screen. So that's the whiteboard feature. Sharing the application and sharing the screen is self-explanatory. I'm not going to click this because last time I clicked this, it messed with the audio and I had to re-record the video twice. But if you have another web tab open, for example, you want to do a Blackboard quiz, you want to go to MyLab, sharing your screen is one way to go to do that. Again, when you share your screen, make sure you don't have anything in the background that you don't want students to see, because they will see everything on your screen. If you have a couple of, the Daily Mail tab open, maybe you don't want students to know you read that. That's sharing screen. You can go to PowerPoint and share your PowerPoint this way, but I think a better way to share your PowerPoint is with share files. If I select share files, I have the option to upload an image, a PowerPoint, or a PDF. We cannot upload Word documents, so that limits you. If you use a lot of Word documents, you're going to have to save them as PDFs to get them uploaded. Click on Add Files and select whatever it is you want to share. It will slowly upload. Better to do this before the class if it's a big PowerPoint. You can see there's a few files here I've uploaded previously when demonstrating. If I wanted to do the PowerPoint, I have to select it and I have to click Share. I also have to select the slide here. One thing I've noticed is it tends to mess with the formatting a little bit on the PowerPoints, so check them before your class. My title PowerPoint looks pretty ugly now, but the rest of my presentation, if I zoom out, seems to be formatted correctly. So you can go through the slides, either select them in the sidebar or move through them one by one using the arrow. Students, if you enable them, or you as a teacher, will have an option to manipulate them, to use the pointer on them. If you're presenting a grammar point and you've got a PowerPoint, this is the way to do it. When you're done, stop sharing, back to your main screen. You guys can see I also have a PDF in here. Let's use this one. Select it, share now, and I've got quite a lot of pages on my PDF actually. If we go through it, I can start on this page. I'm going to need to zoom so my students can see it. We can use the writing feature, or we can use the text feature. I know this one is romance. So you can go through whatever PDF activities you are planning to use. Great for PDFs, great for PowerPoints. I can also put an image in there if I really want. Hey guys, I need you to go to MyLab and to do this activity. So it's in Unit 10, Activity 456. If you want, screenshot that. So that's the Share Files feature. Polling, you have multiple choice questions or yes, no questions. You've seen them used in PD today. Just a note, when you do ask the question, if you go to the attendee list, the answers will display here. You will see a Y for yes, or an N for no, or an A for answer A. So if you need to see which of your students, you would never ask, do you understand? Because that's a terrible concept question, but you would see if somebody said no. And then breakout groups I'm not going to go into because the time is almost out on the video, but you have a choice of custom or a random assignment. That's a feature we need to play with. Last points I want to share with you and show you in my settings. Check your camera, check your microphone if you're having problems. This is probably the place to solve it. Notification settings, if you want to turn the annoying ping off every time someone sends something to the chat room, then this is where you would do that. You can keep the audio notifications if you want, or you can keep the pop-up notifications if you want, so when you're teaching it will show on your screen. And then lastly, session settings. Some useful things here as well. If you have a really out of control class and you need to close all of their mics permanently, you want to just present something for 5 minutes with no interruptions, share audio is the box to tick. That should turn off all of their audio capabilities. Obviously, when you finish presenting, you need to turn it back on. Same if you don't want them to share videos, select. If the chat room is going crazy with Arabic chat and you need to control them, you can withhold the chat feature. And same if they've completely trashed your whiteboard, you can report that and you can stop them from doing it. And then you can turn it back on when you're done. Those are the basic features. Hopefully this video will reach you with audio this time. Best way to get familiar with this system is to just keep practicing, to set up a room with one of your co-teachers to go through it. It's like when you're learning to teach and you have to kind of rehearse your lessons. If you're not confident using the software, you're going to have to rehearse and it's going to take some time to get familiar. Don't forget to check out Blackboard Help. Blackboard Help is very, very useful. That's where I learned all of these things. I have had no formal training in this. It's all just experimentation and Blackboard Help. If you have questions, drop me an email or drop an email to your campus coordinator and they will, if they don't know, they can forward it to me. Good luck teaching next week and thank you very much.